late December day. About mid-afternoon right now. Sun is actually working on setting over there. It's on its way down, and kind of have a little bit of a different video. I mean, it's one of our planting videos, but typically for our planting videos, we've been planting a lot of fruit trees, ultra tropical trees. This is actually Dwarf Birds of Paradise. It's a rescued plant. It's not mine. I just got it, and trying to rescue it, trying to bring it back. It looks like it's had 3 stalks on here. Now it only has 2 left that are alive. So I know they grow a little bit like bananas, kind of, sorta. But I'm excited to kind of put it over here in this space, get it in the ground, and hopefully revitalize it, bring it back, have it grow, flower, really thrive in this space. Right now we're in our gazebo. It's over here in our patio area of the green yard. Doing a lot of things over in this space, actually. We're going to expand the patio way out, and this space here, we're up against the house. This is a water collection for the condensation from our AC units. So I'm going to make a video on that probably next summer when we actually are running our AC units, so we can see how quickly that fills up. But it does fill up pretty quickly there. In this space, I do have some flowering trees and flowering plants. Back here is a day blooming jasmine, member of the tomato family, actually. So it creates these really small white flowers, but they smell amazing. It smells just like jasmine. So really pretty tree. I actually need to trim it down a little bit. This beautiful tree right here is actually our monkey pod tree. Monkey pod is not supposed to grow and thrive here in the Phoenix area, but this tree is amazing. It's doing wonderful. We've had some really hard freezes the last about week and a half, to the point where it got down into the low 30s, but it is still thriving, still doing very well. It's actually still putting off a little bit of new growth here too, which is wonderful to see. And then I have this bougainvillea here. It is a pink bougainvillea. I believe it's a Thai bougainvillea, if I remember correctly. I don't know, I'll have to look that up. I'll post it in there. Very pretty bougainvillea. It's going to grow along the gazebo, try to make kind of this really pretty pattern here. And then I do have a lemongrass over here. I had a hibiscus and a lemongrass, but over the summer it just got too wet in this area. So I'm hoping that something that likes a little bit more moisture will do better over here. The goal with this area is to plant a lot of flowering trees, kind of make it like a flower, trees and plants, kind of make it like a flower garden. Have a lot of, like hummingbirds, insects, butterflies, spend time in this area where we're gonna sit and, spend our time. So let's go ahead, let's work on getting this Birds of Paradise ready to go into the ground. You can see right now it's in this big huge pot, so it might be a little bit difficult to get it in the ground, but I think we can make it work. Also, there's about 2 feet of mulch that we have to go through in order to get down to the soil to then start digging that hole for this rather large root ball that I'm sure is in this pot. So here we go. So one of the things we always hear here in the Phoenix Valley is that we want to plant things as far away from the summer as possible, especially when it comes to our vegetables, our fruiting trees. We always hear, summer is the thing that kills. Don't plant anywhere near the summer. That's bad. Plant it in the winter or early spring. That is true for some crops. But the majority of our trees, especially our tropical trees, actually planting it in the summer is a better time than planting it now. Winter is pretty much the absolute worst time to be planting any sort of tropical tree. Winter is the killer of most tropicals, whereas the summer, as long as they are, heavily mulched, as long as there's water, and they get some afternoon shade, those trees, those plants will do very well in the summer. They like the heat for the most part. Typically it's that cold weather, especially when we get down into freezing like we've been for the last week and a half or so, where we've had that frost every day. Even if it's just light frost, that's what ends up killing our tropical trees. So now's not the best time to be planting our bird of paradise here, but the nice thing is that birds of paradise are native to South Africa, and they're actually pretty hardy when it comes to that cold temperature. I think they can survive down into the low 20s, which isn't bad, and we're not going to be anywhere near the low 20s, so we're definitely going to get this guy in the ground right now. It's gonna suit it better than being in the pot. So this space that I'm looking at is kind of right in the middle of this opening. This garden bed actually expands a little bit on both sides. So right about here, right in the middle, is where we're going to end up planting this birds of paradise, hoping that it ends up growing up. This is a dwarf variety, so it's only going to get to be about 4, maybe 5 feet tall, but it will fill in nicely in this area, add a little bit more color, a little bit more flowers, kind of that tropical feel that we're going for here. So I'm going to go ahead and clear away this mulch, this debris, probably take out this dead lemongrass that's here as well, and start digging that hole to get this guy in the ground. All right, so I've dug down. The soil's actually really good. It's honestly been sitting under this, 2 feet of mulch for probably the last 2 years or so. I put this mulch down a little bit after we moved in, so I'm not going to end up mixing anything in here. The birds of paradise will do just fine. It's not as sensitive either when it comes to kind of changing that soil as some of our other ultra tropicals, so it'll do fine with this organic material that's in here. It does though like to have a lot of organic material. They like to have more of that organically rich soil, so I'll definitely add that mulch back in, help it to create more of that organic matter within the soil. The other big thing with our birds of paradise is they're a little bit more lenient on pH. They do still require less pH than lower pH than our soil here in Phoenix. Remember, our soil here in Phoenix is generally between 8 and 8.5 for our pH. Most of our tropical trees require between 5.5 and 6. So we add that agricultural sulfur in to lower that pH. So I will definitely still be adding some agricultural sulfur to our birds of paradise to help lower that pH down. Birds of paradise, I think, top out at around 7.5. So we still have to lower it, just not as much as some of our other tropical trees. So there's lots of roots in here. Soil is looking really healthy. This mulch is breaking down. I might have to dig this a little bit deeper actually, just with the size of this plant, but we're gonna take it out of the pot and see first if I need to dig down any more. I got a lot of top roots probably coming off of this monkey pod and this day blooming jasmine here, so really healthy soil in this area. Let's get this guy in the ground. So the pot is, it's actually a plastic pot and it's super deteriorating. So just covered in plastic pieces here. Hi Blake, what's up? Blake and Sophia are green yard dogs. All right guys, I gotta plant this. Interruptions by the green yard dogs. So this Birds of Paradise, it's really rooted out here at the bottom. Got some really thick roots. Probably part of the reason why it actually wasn't doing very well. So actually for this one, I'm gonna try to separate out some of these roots a little bit. Definitely needed some help there. I'm glad I'm putting it in the ground. I think it'll end up doing a lot better. And this ends up being, this is a really big plant too. So you can tell it's definitely not living up to its potential above ground as much as it has below ground. So I'm actually gonna have to dig this hole about 6 to 8 inches deeper. So let's move this guy out of here. All right, I think we're deep enough now. This guy weighs a lot too, like 50 pounds. So we're gonna kind of let it fall in here. Holding on as best I can to not hurt the plant. It's a very, very big root ball. Wow. Come on, buddy. Worse. There we go. All right, looking a lot better. So I'm actually going to search around here a little bit at the top of this plant and look for any, look for the root flare. For those of you that don't know, I talk about the root flare a lot. It's basically that top level of roots. The majority of the time plants are buried too deep, and that top level of roots really allows the plant to breathe. It allows it to absorb some nutrients, just gives it overall a better chance at survival. So I did dig down around a little bit. I am seeing some of those top roots, so I'm gonna stop. Definitely buried too deep before. So let's add in this soil over here and get this guy the rest of the way in the ground and plant it. All right, so went ahead, we have this beautiful Birds of Paradise in the ground. This is actually 2 separate plants here, which is great. So hopefully they'll grow up, they'll mature, they'll do really well together here. Eventually with this space, I do want to add in some more flowering plants, some more tropical plants. I'm thinking maybe some monstera, definitely some more hibiscus. There's a lot of opportunities over here, some gardenia, maybe even some Tahitian gardenia, things like that, just to add into this space. Now, the Birds of Paradise do need some afternoon shade in the summer, especially when they're first planted. So this beautiful monkey pod does provide that shade in the summer for some of that afternoon shade. Also, as this bougainvillea grows a little bit bigger, it will help provide shade too. So that little bit of afternoon shade will help it thrive, help it grow. We'll do an update, especially as 2023 comes around, to see how this guy is growing, how it's thriving. I do have one more to plant in the green yard as well. I'm going to put it over in the food forest part of the green yard to add a little bit of flower and color over there as well. So other than, giving them the nutrients they need and a little bit of proper start, birds of paradise are definitely an easy plant to grow. This is our first one that we've had here in the green yard, but I have had birds of paradise in other yards in my life, so definitely an easier plant to grow. We'll see how it does in this space. I actually have never added a whole bunch of mulch to it, created this really organically rich environment, so I'm excited to kind of experiment with this guy, see how planting it into an organically rich environment to start goes, as well as adding in this mulch that is just so alive. And I'll see if I can do a kind of a B-roll shot of this, but this mulch just is, I would love to see it microscopically, but just from a visual standpoint, lots of bugs breaking down this mulch into that beautiful organic matter that we need for our tropical trees. So as always, live green, plant lots, and of course have fun. We'll see you next time.